our Rosie O'Donnell exclusive.
I think that's what my goal is.
How she's moving onward with her career and flashing back to a movie milestone.
You have to hire her. She's best friends with Madonna.
It's really been 30 years
Stop
since that movie.
Don't remind me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, before we go, Friends fans know that Monica Geller is a little bit of a clean freak.
Are you through with that?
And at Courtney Cox's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, well, we learned.
Happening now.
Anything you want to say on your way in?
Dylan, you know I don't want to talk to you.
I'm Dylan Collier. Coming up, she and her husband teamed up to embellish his wartime injuries. How long of a prison sentence for the nearly 6-year-long scheme?
A cold front is on our doorstep and it arrives tomorrow morning. I'll be back to talk about what that means for rain chances, along with how it affects your weekend.
It was banned from cosmetics years ago. So why is it that red dye number 3 is still in some children's candies? We'll explain the potential health risks. The News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, she pretended her husband was paralyzed to get a free house and hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal benefits. That woman will spend close to 4 years in prison.
Josephine Perez Gorda was handed her fate in U.S. District Court today, nearly 8 years after our Dylan Collier first exposed this fraud scheme.
Anything you want to say on your way in?
Dylan, you know I don't want to talk to you.
6 months after a jury found Josephine Perez Gorda guilty on 18 counts ranging from wire fraud to theft of government funds, she made a last-ditch effort to avoid prison. For nearly 6 years, Perez Gorda and her husband, a veteran injured in Afghanistan, carried on the ruse that he was paralyzed from the belly button down, garnering hundreds of thousands of dollars in Veterans Affairs benefits and Social Security payments, all while federal investigators gathered evidence that showed he could walk. This footage from the Department of Justice never seen publicly until now. Perez Gorda's husband, who also faced a slew of charges, died in federal custody early last year while awaiting trial. The couple was gifted this custom-built, specially adapted house in Dripping Springs. The executive director of Homes for Our Troops telling KSAT the charity plans to repossess the property pending an appeal in the case. After a federal judge sentenced Perez Gorda to 46 months in prison, he allowed her to remain free long enough to see her youngest daughter graduate. Good luck. Perez Gorda must report to prison by early June. After her release, she will serve 3 years of community supervision and owes just over $500,000 in restitution. Reporting outside the federal courthouse, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
We have an update to a fatal motorcycle crash we told you about on Monday. The victim identified as 20-year-old Jonathan Augustin Torres. According to San Antonio police, a witness saw Torres speeding down South Flores when he crashed into a pickup truck that was turning onto Castellanos Street. He died at the scene.
We're still working to learn the name of a man killed at a Northside apartment complex overnight. Right now, San Antonio police are looking at surveillance video to try to figure out just what happened. The victim was found at 6 this morning, or actually before 6 this morning, in a stairwell of the Palacia Apartments on Sahara Drive. Investigators say he had been shot in the face, but because of the time it happened, witnesses were hard to come by.
At that hour, people were still sleeping, so all they heard was a gunshot. When they came out, everyone was gone except for the victim.
According to police officers, the victim did not have an ID on him. However, neighbors say he looked like someone who had recently moved into the complex.
A man is okay after his home caught fire this morning. This happening on Turkey Feather Drive near Judson and Lookout Roads. That's on the northeast side. San Antonio firefighters say there was a second home that was damaged by the flames, but we aren't really sure how the fire started. They are working to find out.
Having your vehicle stolen isn't something you think would happen till it does. Some of the most common makes targeted Kias, Hyundais, and Fords. Here in Bexar County, the DMV has close to 40,000 Kias registered, more than 43,000 Hyundais registered. That's a lot of people at risk. And with the social media challenge out there teaching people how easy it is to steal certain models, one SAPD detective says the number of car thefts are rapidly growing.
I've seen an increase in the amount of stolen vehicles. Just this year alone in January, there's been close to 1,300 stolen vehicles.
Now, we purposely blurred the detective's face because he works undercover for the SAPD Auto Theft Division. So how can you make your vehicle less of a target? For starters, take out those keys, lock your doors, park in a well-lit area, and if you can, use a steering lock. If your vehicle is stolen, the sooner you report it, the better the chance of getting it back.
San Antonio landlords who refuse to fix their apartment complexes will now be forced to pay an extra code enforcement inspection. City Council passing a proactive apartment inspection program today. Apartment complexes that get 3 code citations in a 6-month period will be forced to register with the city. And even though there may not have been any complaints, they are still subject to monthly inspections. As well, they're going to have to register to also pay in order to register for the program.
It's a registration aspect. So if I have a 100-unit apartment complex and I do get 3 citations, they could be from 1 unit, they could be from 3 different units, it depends. But the minute they get into this program, they need to pay $100 per year per unit. So if they have 100 times 100, that's $10,000.
And it adds up. If a property started the program with only 3 citations, though, they can graduate if all their violations are fixed after 6 months.
Let's check out traffic right now on this Thursday, and we're going to go to US 90 at 36th Street. You see heavy traffic in both directions. Might also notice the sun's out.
Yeah, the sun did finally show its face here this afternoon, and we've got a decent amount of sunshine across our area, but locally we still have enough clouds to keep our temperatures in the lower 80s. 82, that's our high temperature so far for the day. We still could tack on another degree or so. We'll let you know at 6 when we get the official update. But Del Rio, 87. Eagle Pass at 86 degrees. Even Floresville, 87 right now. Meanwhile, 80 in Bulverde. As we go through the evening hours, the clouds are going to fill back in. Just more of the same. Mugginess, noticeable breeze coming out of the southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and then drizzle developing after midnight tonight. A cold front arrives tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about what that means for our rain chances, the latest futurecast, and of course, what that front's going to do to temperatures for the weekend in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. A new study showing people who take Paxlovid while they have COVID-19 have a lower risk of developing long COVID. The CDC defines long COVID as new or ongoing health issues seen more than 4 weeks after initial COVID infection. According to research, the drug was linked with a 26% lower risk of long COVID and a 47% lower risk of death. In 2021, the FDA gave Paxlovid emergency use authorization. Now they're reviewing it for full approval.
TikTok, it's an app that is as popular as it is potentially dangerous. Those national security concerns put TikTok CEO before Congress today, and lawmakers did not hold back. ABC's Lindsay Watts explains why they want the app banned and China out of the info gathering business.
On Capitol Hill today, a tale of 2 TikToks. CEO Shou Chu saying TikTok is an app focused on free expression for its more than 150 million American users.
Our app is a place where people can be creative and curious. And where close to 5 million American businesses, mostly small businesses, go to find new customers and to fuel their growth.
But several lawmakers on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, where Chu appeared, see something much different, a threat to America's national security.
It's been said it's like allowing the Soviet Union the power to produce Saturday morning cartoons during the Cold War, but much more powerful and much more dangerous.
Chu facing tough questions from both Republicans and Democrats.
Welcome to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
The biggest concerns over TikTok's ties to China.
TikTok is a weapon by the Chinese Communist Party to spy on you, manipulate what you see, and exploit for future generations.
Congresswoman, I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
I find that actually preposterous.
But previously, ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, acknowledged some China-based TikTok employees had accessed and monitored the data of a pair of American journalists. Those employees were later fired. TikTok users from across the nation packed the hearing. Some in attendance say losing the app would destroy their businesses, like Callie Goodwin, who sells greeting cards.
I think that so much of our community and the way that people find us and how we interact with our customers and our sales is driven by TikTok.
The Biden administration has demanded TikTok's Chinese owner sell its stake in the app. And now today, China is responding, saying Beijing will resolutely oppose any sale. Lindsay Watts, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
The fight over how much teachers are allowed to instruct on the subject of sex expanding in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis wants to prohibit lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity in grades 4 through 12. Currently, the law requires age-appropriate lessons on those subjects and a ban for those in grades 3 and lower.
Now, the exception would be for lessons required by state academic standards or those part of a reproductive health course, which parents could opt out of. And Florida, not the only place where laws like this are being proposed. As many as 17 states establishing or advancing laws targeting the LGBTQ plus curriculum and care. You see, Texas is one of those. In Indiana, legislators advanced a bill that would ban gender-affirming care for children.
I feel like I have something to live for. And now what? You're just going to take it all away with this bill?
It would cause far less harm for these kids to wait, get the counseling they need, and then let them make these life-altering decisions as adults.
In Georgia, a partial ban was passed on transgender medical procedures for those under 18. And in West Virginia, the parents of a 12-year-old transgender girl are fighting to block the state from banning trans student athletes from taking effect.
As for Florida, a public hearing over the expanded school policy is set for next month.
I like the idea of making a difference in someone's life and being there during a very crucial moment and just being support.
If you've ever wondered what it takes to be a San Antonio police officer, there's an event happening this weekend, and it is geared up just for women. That's because the San Antonio Police Department is trying to get more women to join its force. And right now, there's a reason why only 12% of SAPD are women.
On Saturday, the Women in Policing event will give recruits a better idea of what they'll encounter day to day while on the job. A part of the event involves an obstacle course to test physical activity, which is one of the first things you're going to have to prepare for after you submit an application.
The obstacle course is the hiring physical. So it's one of the first things they're going to have to do after they submit that application. They'll come in and they'll run this as a physical to see if they are physically prepared for what the academy is going to be like.
It's definitely intense.
The Women in Policing event, it's Saturday from 9 to 1 at the San Antonio Police Department's Training Academy. You have to be at least 18 to attend, and you have to sign up beforehand. You can find more information at sapdcareers.com. Time to check your pantry, maybe even your medical student cabinet. One scan of a label on some of your family's favorite foods might reveal this ingredient, red dye number 3, why it was banned from makeup years ago, but still can be found in our food and medicine. Marilyn Moore's breaking it down and the most recent effort to ditch it when we come back.
And coming up tonight at 6, a woman's only son found shot and killed in a burning car nearly 3 years ago. Although the murderer is in prison, San Antonio police say the killer did not act alone. Coming up, how you can help her find justice and peace.
Bexar County Sheriff's Office meeting with community members in the Alamo Ranch area alongside Northside ISD parents to discuss a recent uptick in crime and the THC vape pens they think might be causing it. NISD says they will also inform parents on new safety measures being put in place at schools.
Plus, the Cesar E. Chavez Legacy and Education Foundation taking applications for their scholarship program. Hear from one former recipient who says the money is helping her with her dream of becoming a doctor. That's at 6.
From candies to drinks to even medicines, red dye number 3 is what gives some of them their pretty color. But it's the same ingredient that's been banned from cosmetics for years now. 12 News Side's Marilyn Morris explains the health concerns and why there is a big effort to also get it out of our food.
Mommy, could I have
a snack, please?
Elena Ramsden tries to give her children foods that don't have additives and artificial food dyes.
I'm concerned about the long-term effects neurologically and developmentally, so I just try to avoid them if I can.
Appearances can be deceiving, especially when it comes to food coloring and flavoring.
Red number 3 dye, also known as erythrocin, is a synthetic dye derived from petroleum, and it's used in food and drinks to give them a kind of bright cherry red color.
Decades ago, the Food and Drug Administration banned red number 3 dye from all cosmetics after studies showed it caused cancer in lab animals. But the dye is still in thousands of varieties of candies, gummies, cakes, beverages, and even medicines.
So how is it possible that this coloring is banned in makeup, but not from the candy that many of our children could be eating?
Consumer Reports and some 20 other groups are petitioning to ask the FDA to prohibit the use of red number 3 dye in foods, dietary supplements, and ingested drugs. Besides the potential cancer risk, some studies raise concerns that artificial food dyes, including red 3, contribute to children's neurobehavioral problems, such as hyperactivity. The International Association of Color Manufacturers says there's not enough evidence associating the dye with behavioral problems and maintains it is safe at the levels most people consume. If you're concerned, read the ingredients. Manufacturers do have to list red number 3 dye right there on the label. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Take a live look outside right now, and some parts of town have bright sunshine. Some parts have clouds. Right here, I think it's kind of split right down the middle on this picture that we're seeing, Adam.
It basically is right down Bexar County. And where we have the full sunshine, we're generally mid-upper 80s. Where we have a little more cloud cover, we're in the lower 80s. And we still have some rain chances. I'm just not all that optimistic, unfortunately. And by the way, the newest drought monitor is in. I'll share that with you in a moment. Tomorrow morning, we've been talking about that shower and storm chance. I give it about 20%, and that's up through 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then really looking like a sunny and dry weekend. Sunday, you'll see that 10% chance. It's mainly along the Gulf Coast and the coastal plain. And then next week, we get into a pattern where we could have some very light daily showers. Better than nothing. There is that potential with the type of pattern we're getting in. So let's get right to it. This is where the action is right now. This is in far north Texas on into Oklahoma and Arkansas. See those yellow polygons there, those boxes indicating the severe thunderstorm watches. Watches meaning conditions are favorable for the development of severe storms. And it's no surprise, that's right along a frontal boundary. This frontal boundary right here. And then we're watching this cold front that stretches down into West Texas. Now, this is not the kind of cold front that's going to hit us really hard and drop our temperatures, and you'll notice everything change right away. This will have more subtle changes for us as we get into tomorrow afternoon and the weekend. So let's look at our futurecast. Cold front midnight still off in West Texas, likely to activate a broken line of showers and thunderstorms, especially closer to San Angelo at that time. Then by 3-4 a.m., Edwards Plateau, Northern Hill Country could get clipped by a few showers or brief thunderstorms. By the morning commute and even up through about 10-11 a.m., that's when around San Antonio we could have some isolated, I think mainly light showers developing along that cold front. And then by 2 o'clock, we're sunny. So yes, another cloudy start to the day tomorrow, and I do anticipate more drizzle in the morning, so that'll develop after midnight and be through the morning commute, but actual showers only about a 20% chance. And then afternoon and evening activities, drying out, a lot of sunshine, just a little breezy. Of course, we'll take all the moisture we can get. Still one of the most drought-stricken parts of Texas, right here, especially throughout northwestern Bexar County, stretching all the way through Comal, Kendall, Kerr, Bandera, Medina, even Blanco counties. This is really the bullseye of the worst drought and most concentrated extreme and exceptional drought across Texas. East Texas, no problems. Dallas area, no problems. Far west Texas, say it with me, no problems. Not even abnormally dry. It's right up and down the center part of the state. And we have seen it get a little bit worse, especially off in the Panhandle over the past couple of weeks. This is where we've had improvement. 3 months ago, California, 98% of the state was in drought. They've significantly cut that back, and their reservoirs are way up too. I was just checking their reservoirs levels. They've just really spiked close to historical averages, which is good. Anyway, 82 degrees here. Dew point is 67. You feel that mugginess. It's going to lead to more drizzle tomorrow morning, but the cold front hits, and by tomorrow afternoon, dew points drop to 50. so pleasant, and then even lower into Saturday, which means cooler mornings coming this weekend. 66 tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, sunny and 86 with low humidity, but you'll notice that westerly wind. 50 degrees Saturday morning, then sunny and 82 by Sunday morning. We're at 54 degrees, so a great weekend to get outdoors, especially early in the day if you do those long morning runs or bike rides. Next week, back down in the 70s for highs, so a bit of a change.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, the Spurs have been on the road for the last two, and they have been ugly.
They have been, and last night they lost to the Bucks by 36 points. And then after the game, during post, Pop said something that makes sense, but at the same time has people saying, Pop, are you serious? Plus, Saturday night, Toyota Field will host a battle of undefeated teams coming up.
I'd love to be able to play them every night. It'd be great for our young kids to see, how it gets done and how mistakes are made and what's important. So
the result wasn't a good one, but Pop says his guys learning from the best is key for their growth in big board sports. So that's been Pop's goal all season, to develop his young players. Yes, he wants to win, but this season is all about learning the Spurs way with an eye on the future. The Spurs played the Bucks tough for most of the first half last night. After trailing by 13 points in the first quarter, San Antonio got within 2 a couple of times in the second quarter, and then the Bucks kicked it up several notches and outscored them 15-2 to close out the first half, taking control of the game. Spurs lose 130-94, and during post, KBD was asked about Pop, saying he wishes his guys could play the Bucks every night.
Aside from all their talent and experience, they just do everything, the right way every single time down. They don't make many mistakes. That's a championship level basketball team. That's probably why Pop said that. That's where you want to get to. That's where you want to get to. That takes time, but you got to learn against teams like that have been through it, that veteran guys, really, really good players, obviously all-star, MVP, all that kind of stuff. So I get what he means.
Wizards and Spurs play tomorrow. Note the early tip time at 6 p.m. San Antonio FC is hard at work getting ready to face Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. The two USL Championship clubs are tied for second in the West with 4 points. SAFC is coming off a 1-1 draw at Loudoun United, which Justin Dillon said felt a bit like a loss because the team believes they should have earned 3 points. Up next are the undefeated Switchbacks, a team SAFC beat in the Western Conference Finals 2-0 on their way to a championship.
I'm not really thinking about us playing against them in the Western Conference Final. I'm more thinking about it's a new season, and what we did last year was great, but all of our eyes and focus is on what we got to achieve this year, and that is, beating Colorado. It's a team with a lot of new faces, and as well with us, we've got different guys, and it's just a whole new season.
I know they lost some big-time players, but they've also replaced them with some big-time players. Very dangerous attacking group. They've got a number of weapons that we must stop. We know areas that we can exploit, and the idea is to go ahead and perform and execute those actions.
SAFC is home Saturday night at Toyota Field to host Colorado Springs at 7:30.
Coach seems really excited there.
He does.
He's really hyped, I can tell.
He's like this the whole time.
The whole time.
Even.
Yep. Such a coach.
We'll be right back. Thanks so much for watching the News at 5.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.